Dear students, today we shall be talking about the benthos, its importance and classification. Before proceeding, it is my request to you all to like and subscribe my channel BioLearning. First of all, we shall be talking how this word is derived and what is the definition of the benthos. The word benthos comes from the Greek, which means living in depth of sea or lakes, and it was coined by German zoologist Ernst Haeckel in 1891. The term benthos refers to entire bottom community occupying the substratum in all types of aquatic ecosystems, both saline as well as freshwater. Benthic organisms inhabit different water bodies such as brooks, rivulets, springs, streams, rivers, marshes, swamps, reservoirs, ponds, lakes, seas, and oceans. These benthic organisms live within the water bodies and spend either their whole biological cycle or some part of their life cycle in the bottom. When we talk about their importance, they help in the decomposition. So benthos play a big role in decomposition process, that is the flow of the energy and nutrient cycling in ecosystem. So they are the important part of the ecosystem wherein they help in the nutrient cycling. Now, secondly, benthic organisms act as source of the food to larger organisms, especially fishes and aquatic birds. And thirdly, benthic organisms are potential bioindicators of water quality and can monitor the health status of the water bodies. Fourthly, they stabilize the system sediment and prevent resuspension of sediments of water. They also bind to substratum and can reduce turbidity and erosion. Now, what comprises benthos? Now, when we talk about the benthos, it is composed of the different variety of the organisms. For example, they can be protozoa such as zooflagellates, amoeba. They can be cyanobacteria such as blue-green algae. They can be angiosperms such as macrophytes. They can be porifers such as sponges. They can be cnidarians such as hydrides and jellyfishes. They can be bryozoa such as moss animals. They can be nematomorpha such as horse hair worms. They can be nematodes such as roundworms. They can be platyhelminthes such as flatworms. They can be annelids such as aquatic earthworms, leeches. They can be mollusks such as snails and mussels. They can be arthropods such as aquatic insects, crustaceans, water mites, etc. They can be echinoderms such as starfishes. They can be even pisces such as stingrays and the rock cod which live in the benthic region of the water bodies. Now, talking about the classification, scientists generally classified the benthic organisms on the basis of following types, such as on the basis of the type, the benthos can be, or the benthic organisms can be classified. They can be classified on the basis of location. They can be classified on the basis of size. They can be classified on the basis of mobility. They can be classified on the basis of substratum, and they can be classified on the basis of the feeding habit. So there are different bases of the classification of the benthic organism. First of all, we shall be talking about the classification based on type. So on the basis of the type, the benthic organism has been classified into two groups, that is zoobenthos, and they can be divided into the phytobenthos. So when we talk about the zoobenthos, benthic organisms which comprise of animals, they are called zoobenthos. They can be starfishes. they can be mussels, they can be crustaceans. And secondly, on the basis of type, they can be divided into phytobenthos. So benthic organisms which comprise of plants, they are called as the phytobenthos. For example, they can be seagrass, they can be seaweeds, and on the basis of the location, the benthic organisms, they have been classified into three groups. They can be classified as endobenthos, they can be classified as epibenthos, and they can be classified as the hyperbenthos. So endobenthos are those benthic organisms which are present under the bottom sediments of different water bodies. So those very benthic organisms which are present under the bottom segments of different water bodies, such as oligochaetes, such as bivalvia, and even the chironomus larvae. So we call them as the endobenthos. And secondly, epibenthos, if they just live on the surface of the sediment and are mostly attached to the substratum, we call them as epibenthos. So those benthic organisms which live on the surface of the sediment are mostly attached to the substratum, such as gastropods, sponges. So we call them epibenthos. And thirdly, hyperbenthos. They live actively above the sediments. So when they live actively above the sediment floor and have capability to swim near the bottom instead of being attached to the substratum, such as we do have the example of the rock cod fish, that we call it as the hyperbenthos. Thirdly, we can classify the benthos on the basis of size. On the basis of size, benthic organisms are classified into three groups. We can classify them as the macrobenthos, myobenthos, and microbenthos. Macrobenthos, they include larger organisms that can be seen through the naked eye. They have the size more than 1 mm. So those very benthic organisms having the size more than 1 mm and can be retained in the sieve having the mesh size of 500 micrometer. We classify them as the macrobenthos, such as polychaetes, such as bivalves or echinoderms. And secondly, we do have the myobenthos, those organisms which are smaller than 1 mm but larger than 0.1 mm. We classify them as the myobenthos, such as nematodes, ciliates, annelids, copepods. They can pass through 500 micrometer sieve but are retained on 40 micrometer sieve. So we do have the different kinds of the worms, crustaceans, tardigrades, and brachiopods in this very category. Then thirdly, on the basis of size, we can classify them as the microbenthos. So these organisms are very small. They are less than 0.1 mm. So those very organisms which have the size less than 0.1 mm, we call them as the microbenthos, such as we do have the diatoms, dinoflagellates, phytoflagellates, amoeba, bacteria, and they are not mostly seen by the naked eye. The microscope is needed to watch them. Then fourthly, we classify the benthos on the basis of mobility as well. So on the basis of mobility, benthic organisms are classified into two groups, that is sessile benthos and vagrant benthos. Now we all know sessile benthos, they do not show any movement and are attached or fixed with substratum, such as we do have the benthic algae, we do have the seagrass, we do have the corals. So they do not show any movement and are attached or fixed to the substratum. And such benthos are called the sessile benthos. Then we do have the vagrant benthos. Those benthos which have the locomotory organs and can either move slowly or rapidly on the substratum, we call them as the vagrant benthos, such as we do have the crabs, we do have the stingrays. Then on the basis of the substratum, they can be classified into two groups, that is apifauna and infauna. When we say apifauna, they include animals which live on attached to the hard or soft substratum. So which live on or attached to the hard or soft substratum. So on the upper side, we call them as the apifauna. We do have the limpets, we do have the crinids, corals in this very category. So secondly, we do have the infauna. Infauna, they involve animals which live below the sediment water interface. They constitute the burrowers and borers. Burrowers are the organisms that burrow into the bottom sediments. For example, we do have the clams, sea urchins, etc. Then under the borer category, those very organisms that bore the hard rock are wood materials. For example, wood boring shipworms and isopods. So we do have the two kind of the benthos on the basis of the substratum. So which live on or are attached to the hard or soft substratum. We call them as apifauna. And infauna, which live below this sediment water interface, and they constitute the burrowers and borers. So we do have this very kind of category, that is burrowers and borers. We call them as the infauna. So on the basis of the feeding, they can further be classified. So they can further be classified on the basis of feeding into 5 groups. That is filter or suspension feeders, deposit feeders, herbivores, predators, and scavengers. So on the basis of the feeding, the benthos can be divided into 5 groups. First of all, we shall be talking one by one. Filter or suspension feeders. These organisms capture and ingest particulate organic matter suspended in the water. They generally construct a tube or hard case for protection. For example, there are certain sponges, snails, clams, oysters, lancelets, caddisfly larvae, etc. These filter or suspension feeders can further be divided into two categories: active suspension feeders and passive suspension feeders. Active suspension feeders, they draw particles toward their mouth. That is, they have the capability of the sucking. So they draw particles towards their mouth parts by creating a water current. We call them as the active suspension feeders. Then, for example, these are the active suspension feeders. Then we do have the second category of the suspension feeders. We call them as the passive suspension feeders. They protrude the feeding appendages and collect the deposited particles. So such as in this very case, in this second case, that is the passive suspension feeding, no active pumping of the water is done, but the use of cilia and the mucus is employed to move the particles towards the mouth. So this is there are two kinds of the suspension feeders: active suspension feeders having the ability to draw particles toward their mouth, and the passive suspension feeders, they protrude the feeding appendages and collect the deposited particles. Then second category on the basis of feeding are deposit feeders. These organisms feed on the particulate and deposited food upon the sediment, within the sediment, or at the sediment surface. Such as polychaetes and sea cucumbers, they have the tentacles to feed at the sediment surface. We do have the lungworm, Arenicola marina. which draw a U-shaped burrow and feed within the sediment, such as this very. We do have the surface tentacle feeders such as Hobsonia. So they have the tentacles to feed at the sediment surface. Then thirdly, we do have the category on the basis of feeding. We call them as the herbivores. So these organisms feed on algae attached to the substratum as periphyton or leaf packs or detritus within the substratum. They are generally occurring in the shallow region and have modified mouth parts for scraping and grazing of the food, such as we do have the Nereis, we do have the chiton, we do have the parrotfish, we do have the urchins. Now these are the herbivores, but mostly the Nereis and the chiton, these are the best examples of the herbivore benthos. Then some of the benthos are also predators. These organisms feed on other living organisms of varying shape and size. They have well modified mouth parts to capture and consume their prey. For example, we do have the oyster catcher, bivalve, we do have the Cuspidaria, Polychaete glycera, and the gastropod Nucella, and the crab Callinestis sapidus. So these are the examples of the benthic predators. And lastly, on the basis of the feeding, we have one more category, that is the scavengers. These organisms feed on the dead bodies or remnants of either benthic or pelagic organisms. Scavengers also nourish on carcasses as well as residue of other animals and plants, such as we do. The example is of the fiddler crabs or the sea stars, which feed on the dead and decaying organisms. And in this way, they clean the environment as well. So this was all about the benthos, their importance and classification. And next time, see you with the classification of mollusca. Thank you. Thank you very much.